The pace of iteration and innovation in the AI space is like something we haven't seen in a long time. In fact, it's not since the halcyon days of the 90s that I felt that so much was possible with a computer. Just this week, and only 1 month since the first version, we've seen another iteration of BabyAGI be released. This time, the third version, BabyCatAGI, has some significant improvements and speed updates, which means it's a lot more effective for doing what it's supposed to do. But it also narrows down exactly what it's meant to be doing and what it's good at. Today, we're going to take a look at all three versions. Seriously though, the pace of innovation in AI is absolutely brilliant. It is fantastic to watch this improve and to get to try out and see how it's getting better. Now, our friend Yohei has once again iterated and improved upon his previous version, which was BabyAGI, and released BabyCatAGI. The key innovations this time are making that decision-making task prioritization loop happen first and happen with GPT-4, whilst using GPT 3.5 to speed up the remainder of the calls. This means that the order of operations, this means the list of things that it needs to do are better quality and set in stone at the outset, which leads to faster results and more focused progress. Now, you could go and fork this REPL if you want to and add the same API keys as last time, but that's hardly going to make a very exciting video. Luckily, Yohei has also been part of this experience here, bringing all the BabyAGIs together in BabyAGI UI. Now, this is initially a GitHub project. What I've done is I've turned it into a REPL, got it working, and spinned it out as a REPL that you can go and fork for yourself. So it should be very, very easy to get started and set up with this exact same setup, with a nicer UI and an ability to compare and contrast a bunch of other things. Now, you will need to set up a bunch of secret keys in this. The first of which is obviously going to be your OpenAI API key. As ever, you get it from your username and go and create one there, or if you've got your API key hanging around, you can copy and paste it. We also need a couple of API keys for the original version of BabyAGI here, for Pinecone. We're also going to bring in our SEARP API key, just like we did last time, and we're also going to set up the next public table and the next public use key with the default values as I'm showing you here. Most of these APIs have a free tier or are free to use initially. OpenAI will even give you a couple of dollars credit for the first few months you set up an account. But most developers by now have given their credit card details to OpenAI. I know I have. And what we're going to do is just click run. And we've got this lovely interface that allows us to ask questions and select the model and select the AGI that we're going to be using. Let's start off with the new one and we'll see what a difference it's making. And let's use the default prompt here. Let's ask it to write a weather report for London for the next few days. And off it goes. You'll see that the initial step takes a little bit longer, but we do get our task list very distinctly and very quickly. And they're good tasks actually. It's a good summary and breakdown. And then the web searches are going off, getting the detail from live data on the internet. It's parsing that and well, actually it's produced a pretty good forecast for the next few days. Although I will just say that giving me the temperatures in Fahrenheit is not much use to me being a European. But that was pretty good actually. No crashes, no fiddliness. We got a really clear and really concise output very, very quickly compared to last time we did this. But let's switch that model over to the previous version, BabyAGI, and run it again. And it's going. And it's going, and it's waiting, and it's getting stuck, and you can see the improvement already, can't you? BabyCatAGI is just so much more efficient at pulling this data together and actually doing the job of an agent, which is pretty cool. Now, it seems to be stuck in a bit of a loop here, failing to scrape the same piece of data over and over again. So we're going to kill it there. Let's go to the original version though and see even how much that improved. If we go back to BabyAGI, and I'm even going to set the model to 3.5 here just for speed, because if I set it to 4, it's going to take forever. And we let it go, it is very confused. It's not really knowing what it's doing. That task list and even the prioritization that we got in BabyAGI and BabyCatAGI is making a big difference to the speed here. So you can see the leaps and bounds of improvements in just 1 month mean that autonomous agents like BabyAGI, BabyCatAGI now, have improved enormously. But of course, the beauty of an autonomous agent is that we can give it access to the live internet. So let's go and do something a bit more timely. Let's start with BabyCat and ask it to summarize all the AI improvements at Google I/O. Now, as of me recording this, Google I/O was last week, so it's very, very new, very, very recent. So we've got a list of tasks straight away, all really, really good. And it's going off and doing web searches and pulling data in. And what I like about this UI, of course, is getting the summaries as we go and the result of each task, and a lot more efficient to read than the command line based interface of the standalone versions, which is really nice. Yeah, we've got a decent summary. What this is very good at is doing exactly what we said. It is doing knowledge work. BabyCatAGI really goes to the extreme on that one. It is good at finding things out. It is good at summarizing and bringing back information from the live web, or doing research for tasks. Let's remind ourselves what that looked like just a couple of weeks ago with BabyB, and it's getting stuck, it's pulling in random information, it's not really justifying itself on why it's going down these rabbit holes. Well, we're getting some summaries, but they aren't exactly good. And let's go all the way back to a month ago to BabyAGI and see how badly that performs, and yeah, it's not doing well at all, is it? In fact, if you look at the console, it's erroring all over the shop as it tries to pull data in and not getting quite the pages it's expecting. So it's not doing quite what you'd want, unfortunately. But finally, and interestingly, I think, is the way in which BabyCatAGI has now started to pull away from the generic idea of an autonomous agent, where it can go and do arbitrary things. If you remember in our last video, I asked it to create a website, a landing page, for my brand new business that sold commemorative Robocop statues. Well, I'm going to ask the same thing here. And this is where you start to see a divergence from exactly what's come before. Because as you watch it build, you'll see a lot more messages saying, as a large language model, I'm not going to create code. And in fact, it doesn't even lead into that. It's not even trying really. It's just saying, this is what I would do. Here's the contents I put in it, but I'm not going to make some code for you. And that's really, really interesting because it is totally doubling down on knowledge-based work and not constructing things arbitrarily based on what I tell it to. Does that mean that BabyCatAGI is reducing its scope to be better at what it's doing? Well, possibly. And I think it'll take us until the next version, or a few versions down the line, let's be honest, that's probably going to be in a couple of weeks, that we get to see whether that functionality comes back in and whether a focus is brought to that. But actually, I think this is a good thing. Bringing autonomous agents up to a point where they specialize in something and therefore can be tweaked and improved to do that is where we need to go at the moment, because creating a general AGI that can just do anything is a big job. And as we saw when I lost a week of my life trying to get AutoGPT to produce something meaningful I could make a video out of, which failed spectacularly, I'll have to add, too generic a use case at the moment is not a use case at all. Reducing scope and focusing on knowledge work is doing brilliant stuff here. And of course, we try that same model with BabyB. You'll see we're getting the code this time because it was a bit more generic, but that code isn't useful because it doesn't go anywhere. It's just dumped on the screen. And if we go all the way back to BabyAGI, you'll see it's got no task list really to speak of. It's going off and meandering and getting distracted and researching some really bizarre stuff that it doesn't need to be doing. If you want to compare these models yourself, go and fork my REPL and put your keys in and see how it works. I'm really impressed with BabyCatAGI for knowledge work. It will go out and look on the active internet for you, pull information back, parse that really, really well. The task list, the priority queue seems to be working better, and most importantly, the speed is there. The speed is now good enough that you can set it off to do something and be reasonably sure that you're going to get an answer or an end result back. And by using this UI, you can trace back those steps a lot easier, and you can read the final report in ease and even download them for safekeeping. We've improved so much in a month with this kind of AI, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'd love to see your use cases for it. Put them in the comments below, tell me what you used it for, how you've saved time with it. The only question remains is whether, as OpenAI turn on browse access to its GPT models, and as Bard becomes more and more active and more powerful with knowledge and access to the wider internet, whether an autonomous agent will still have that luster and that interest when the general models have access to the open web. Go fork BabyCat or go and fork BabyAGI UI from these links below, and have a play yourself and see just which parts of your job you can automate to make your life easier.